Throughout a life spent in service to 3 institutions, Paul LeClerc has been guided by the belief that education and access to information are at the center of human empowerment and are essential to the development of human capital. From humble beginnings in Lebanon, New Hampshire, his youth in Queens, and throughout his academic life, LeClerc's life was shaped by his study of French literature, the Enlightenment, and the writings of Voltaire in particular. As a student at the Sorbonne, he watched the historic structures of Paris undergo a rebirth. Cleaned of years of accumulated soot and grime, the authentic built environment of the City of Lights seemed to reinforce the ideals of the Enlightenment. Reason as a universal rule, the supremacy of the natural sciences, and the engagement of the public sphere in discussion and action. Dr. LeClerc began his career at Union College in Schenectady, beginning as an instructor of French and going on to chair the Division of the Humanities. He introduced and taught the first course devoted to the women writers of France and furthered research on Voltaire and the Enlightenment. Dr. LeClerc joined the Central Administration of the City University of New York in 1979. In addition to codifying a course equivalency guide to inform CUNY students which of their community college courses could be credited toward a baccalaureate degree, he also created the first student exchange program between 2 large urban public university systems. Launched in the early 1980s, the exchange program between CUNY and the universities of Paris afforded urban students, often of modest means, the chance to benefit from study abroad. The third institution to benefit from Dr. LeClerc's leadership and longest tenure is the New York Public Library. With 87 branch libraries in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island, 4 research libraries, and collections numbering more than 50 million, the library is one of the greatest in the world. One of its most majestic spaces, the main reading room, spans the length of 2 city blocks. Inspired by Dr. LeClerc's many hours at the Bibliothèque Nationale in France, its restoration weaves together old-world architectural elegance and modern technology. As the library celebrated its centennial, it underwent a thorough program of restoration, inside and out. LeClerc now describes the main library as ordered, coherent, rational, and most importantly, beautiful and ennobling to the public. In addition to championing the stewardship of the main library through the library's Second Century campaign, Dr. LeClerc has fostered the institution's growth in 3 key areas, reflecting the great themes of the Enlightenment. Reason. The New York Public Library serves a diverse clientele, from preschool children to adults who require assistance with literacy skills, to world-class writers and scholars. Sciences. The library's website is one of the most heavily used in the world, second only to the Library of Congress. Further, Dr. LeClerc ensured that the library was one of the 5 founding libraries and the only public one in Google's project to scan the world's most important library collections. Public engagement. To ensure the active use of the physical collections at the library and position the library as a hub of intellectual life in New York City, Dr. LeClerc created the Cullman Center for Scholars and Writers and augmented the funding for a similar Scholars in Residence program at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. As the library looks ahead to digital developments, to the preservation of its historic buildings, as well as the construction of the LEED-certified buildings, like the Bronx Library Center with its green roof, it would do well to remember the words of Dr. Paul LeClerc. Just as the exquisite binding on a rare book signifies the importance of what lies between its covers, architecture and design tell us directly how central a great library is to the notion of civilization itself. As a champion for the ideas, the binding, the pages, and the buildings that hold the books, the Preservation League is proud to honor Dr. Paul LeClerc as a pillar of New York.